Hello, we're here at the podcast, and our guest today is Ben Lai. He is the president of the China US Business Association. And tonight we are talking about the prospects of Mexico already being the top business trade partner, replacing China after 20 years. Ben, what are your insights about this story?
Yeah, actually, by 2018, I was invited to join the Global Economic Conference, and I invited the former president of President Fox from Mexico to join the World Conference. And I explained to the most of business in China, in case something happened in China, that Mexico is a solution. Why is a solution? And after pandemic, I think the supply chain broken, so a lot of business lost their order, everything. And by the way, also the China-US, the conflict each other because all the import duty, everything go high. So all the business in China start facing challenge. They lost order plus the increase the duty, and they lost a lot of business. At the same time, on the side of the Mexico, they're right next to us. So the people still ask me why the solution in Mexico could be take over after 20 years, not a trade partner with the US. China is supposed to continue, but because of COVID-19 plus the China-US, the trade against each other. So they bring the good opportunity for the Mexico to develop from 2021, 22, and 23. The size start increase. The reason is Mexico have a 1.3 billion population with a skilled labor and can replace, although only 1/10 size of the China. But second, it's right next to it. So you don't need to ship 2 weeks to 4 weeks a container cross ocean to the United States. They can drive just for 12 to 48 hours, get from border to border, that's all. Another one, the NAFTA is USMCA. It's Canada, US, and Mexico. They have a special trade agreement, almost at zero the import duty compared to 20-30% of China. Of course, the three things you can tell, definitely they will take over in as soon as possible. When possible, why? They have a regional the benefit for the Mexico and US trade. US like to have company manufacture behind it, just right next to it, and manufacture, ship it to them. You don't have to wait for a week, 2 weeks, or 4 months to come here. So many three benefit, I believe. They open a lot of opportunity for future for the Mexico and US trade. And slowly, instead of just for China, all the factory move to Thailand and Vietnam, still need to take long time to ship it here and then cost more. So that may be the best benefit for in the future. I believe there's a great opportunity for the Mexico develop as a
Yeah.
supply chain for the US.
So crossing the border via the
Yeah,
trucks is the
yeah,
key to delivering
yeah,
the goods to the US virtually like within 24 to 48 hours, right?
yeah.
And
Instead of two weeks and 4 weeks, what's the difference? And
yeah,
cost, in case something like oil increase the price, shoot up something, the shipping cost and time and risk, I think this is much easier.
oh yeah, and from an environmental standpoint, Ben, um, the trucks will obviously they will be using trucks anyways, right? To
Inexpensive,
yeah,
fast,
once
inexpensive.
once the trucks are loaded, they'd be going directly to their destinations. Whereas the
Yeah,
ship, they have to if you ship your goods from China, you
two to
always
four
have to be on
weeks
the pier,
minimum.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
and on the pier, and they'll have to
uh-huh.
truck it anyway.
Yeah.
So you
It can
save the gas emissions from
time
the
too,
ships,
time as well too.
right? And time is the key apparently because if
Yeah,
like inventory,
Yes,
considerations and things like that, increases the cost as well. So is
yeah,
that going to be like, are prices going to be lower if they're shipping or they're trucking from
definitely.
Mexico versus
Because you
China?
see, for example, just for gasoline, the ship cross border for 12 to 14 hours or 24 hours, you can arrive here. And then you load in a container, and those container cross the whole ocean all the way here for 2 weeks to 4 weeks, arrive here.
Right.
We just see the shipping cost, the by the by boat and by the car truck. This is so much different.
Right. Is it
In case
only
oil
the
change, oil price go up, then your shipping cost increase too.
yeah, is it only the time and the shipping cost that's the
Not
factor
only
here?
that, okay, when you produce a merchandise and then you invest the money into, include the interest and capital in, you take 2 to 3 months to return the money, correct?
Right.
But if you just cross border, that cost was much less.
The cost of capital, you mean?
Right,
Like
return
interest
fast,
and yeah,
everything. So no
right.
matter what, whatever you're thinking, I think that probably the best solution in the future. And I believe future Mexico will become one of the supply chain, just right next to the biggest market, Northern American market, Canada and United States.
How about the labor factor? Is it cheaper
Labor
still in
actually
China
much
or
cheaper,
cheaper in
about 20,
Mexico?
30% cheaper, and also the skilled labor. You know what is skilled labor? In
Mm-hmm.
Mexico now have a lot of, you were surprised, the study engineer, the student much more than United States student engineer. So actually they have an inexpensive labor there.
Oh, cheaper than China or about the
Yeah,
same?
cheaper, about
Oh,
20%
really?
cheaper now. Another one is we're looking for another 10 years. China used to be have a 26 million every year produce, have a baby. Now almost next year will reach to 8 million baby only, baby boom. So
Oh,
what's the difference? You lost all the benefit from the manpower, human resource.
right.
But Mexico did it, right?
Well, that's very interesting. I know that the news broke out sometime in September and 2003, which indicated like the mainstream media officially acknowledged that, which is probably not a good sign for the the supporters of the Chinese government.
Yeah, the
On
20
which
years
is
that China really to be a major world manufacturer, the reason is they have a huge the human resource, the
right.
manpower in China, but they lost all the benefit because now this year we have a graduate like a college graduate, 11 million, 11.5 million graduate, but
Right.
this is a high university graduate. What do you mean? Means after 20 some years, they from 25 million become 8 million. You know what I
Is
mean?
there yeah,
Continue going to decrease because nobody want to marry and no one want to buy a house and no one have a baby. Then
yeah.
just see the next 10 years, the 15 years, definitely lost all the benefit for
Yeah,
the,
well, now when the manufacturing jobs are going to be in Mexico, that's very close to the U.S. Why don't they just bring in the manufacturing jobs back home to the U.S.?
oh, they did already. They
Is
bring a
that a
lot of,
plan?
yeah, US government to bring a lot of the factory, high-tech factory back to United States
Right.
because after COVID-19, all supply chain broken. We cannot heavily depend on which company produce something to us. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Right. I mean,
They couldn't deliver.
yeah, and I'm glad that that's going to be happening. So
Yes.
let's conclude this brief episode of our podcast. Ben,
Yeah.
can you say last words about this
I see
uh,
the I
trend?
see the next 5, 10 to 20 years, Mexico will be very important supply chain for the world, especially the biggest market in US and Canada. So Mexico will be one of very important if they have enough infrastructure construction and basic structure change. And I believe that definitely next target developing will be in Mexico.
Ben, how are they, our listeners, how are they going to reach you?
They can reach my email